Hi, I'm going to look at the 10 most crime-ridden cities in the USA. Yes, you heard it right. This is a list of the United States' most dangerous places. I tell about my personal experiences and data research to tell you which places have the most crime. You should check to see if the place you want to visit or move to is not one of the American towns with the highest crime rates. People always say things in the comments like, "You forgot San Francisco," or "You forgot Compton, California," when I make these kinds of videos. I'm Alana, and I'll be your guide on this eye-opening voyage. Starting with the city of rock and roll, Cleveland in Ohio, it's very interesting. Located on the shores of Lake Erie. Even though I love the Browns, I never want to live here. There are 373,000 people living here right now, and a little more than 2 million people live in the metro area as a whole. This city has a lot to offer, but safety isn't one of its strong suits. With a staggering violent crime rate of 1,557 incidents per 100,000 residents. People often confuse Cleveland with Oakland, California, but the numbers tell a different story. Oakland's violent crime rate is notably lower at 1,299 per 100,000 residents. Next place is in the heartland of the United States. Kansas City in Missouri comes in at number 9. This vibrant city has a rich history, but it also harbors a troubling secret. With a population of over 510,000 residents, the city has seen its fair share of violence. The numbers show that Kansas City does have a serious crime rate of over 1,600 per 100,000 people. There have been more murders in the city lately, which is one reason why it is one of the most dangerous in the U.S. To deal with the problems, steps are being taken, such as more neighborhood police and working together with the federal government. It's the middle of now, here where, about 8 hours drive from the closest big city is Chicago. There are no national parks, mountains, or historical sites close by. Things like the Iowa State Fair, which can be a lot of fun to attend once in a lifetime. Next, we travel westward to the heart of the desert, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nestled in the picturesque Southwest, it's a city that often escapes the national spotlight. But when you dive into the data, you'll realize that it's not immune to violence. With a population of around 564,000, and there are 916,000 people living in the metro area, which is just under a million. There were 7,552 violent crimes in 2022, such as 80 killings, 1,439 thefts, and 5,592 assaults, earning it the number 8 spot on our list. With a crime rate of 6,356 crimes per 100,000 people, Albuquerque is 171% more dangerous than the rest of the country. There is also a problem with property theft. It was reported that 5,075 homes were broken into, 18,131 items were stolen, and 4,965 vehicles were stolen in 2022. There are ongoing efforts to make the public safer, such as more neighborhood policing and working together with federal law enforcement. Quigley Park, La Mesa, the Jackson area, and Crestview Bluff are the most dangerous places to live in Albuquerque. Next is the Badger State, known for its natural beauty, but its largest city has a darker side. Milwaukee in Wisconsin is ranked number 7. You know, Wisconsin is one of the best states to relocate to. And as I've mentioned in numerous times, it's the only area with a high crime rate. Every time I mention that, everyone says that Milwaukee isn't that horrible and that I'm an idiot or whatever. Even if you might not believe it, the statistics show otherwise. The city is rather violent. There are 2,003 violent crimes committed there for every 100,000 residents. It's home to 577,000 people, while the total metro area has over 1.5 million people living in it. I get a lot of people saying, you should really talk to one of the current locals. That's something I always understand. And here's the thing. I could speak with 100 individuals from any town, city, or state. 30% will think it's extremely risky, and 50% will say it's safe. For this reason, you must rely on the data. Similar to the entire video, opinions frequently diverge from reality. High rates of unemployment, poverty, and racial inequality have plagued the city, and each of these issues can lead to higher crime rates. The authorities are attempting to resolve these problems and enhance public safety, but obstacles still need to be overcome. Now I'll talk about number 6, which is Little Rock, Arkansas. This is a place I don't know very well. Little Rock was one of the most forgettable places. It was just dull. However, I was aware that this area had one of the highest murder rates in the U.S. It isn't a bad city. It has a lovely waterfront and downtown area. It doesn't look that scary when you go there, but the crime rates are frightening when you look at them. Its violent crime rate stands at 1,634 incidents for every 100,000 residents. About 204,000 people live here, and less than 750,000 live in the metro area as a whole. It's strange that Little Rock is still growing. There has never been a lower population. Our next stop takes us to the Golden State, specifically Stockton, California. Unless you're a fan of the UFC's Diaz brothers, you might not know much about Stockton. About 320,000 people live here, and about 776,000 live in the metro area as a whole. It's 82% more dangerous than the U.S. average when it comes to crime. The serious crime rate per 100,000 people is 4,259. The city's economy has had problems, such as high rates of poverty and unemployment. Also, gang behavior is a big problem. In 2022, there were 4,047 violent crimes, which meant that it was 1 in every 79 people who were killed. Out of those, 56 people were killed, 918 were robbed, and 2,883 were assaulted. Our voyage leads us to the eastern seaboard, to the historic city of Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore has long held a reputation for being a challenging place to call home. With a population of 585,000 residents, it secures the 4th position on our list, with a violent crime rate of 2,027 incidents per 100,000 residents. One good thing about things is that it's not hard to see that this is one of the most dangerous towns in the country. Every time you go down the street to get food, you feel like you are in danger and scared for your life. It's a place that definitely belongs on this list. Next up is Memphis in Tennessee at number 3. Continues down the Mississippi River, a city known for its musical heritage. Memphis and Little Rock aren't too far away on a map. It takes about 2 hours to drive. Knoxville is a really dangerous spot. A lot of people are going to say that they think it's much more dangerous, and I would agree with them based on reputation alone. About 633,000 people live here, and 1.3 million live in the metro area as a whole. For every 100,000 people who live there, there are 2,003 serious crimes. Surprisingly, many people believe Los Angeles should occupy this spot, but the city of Angels falls far behind, with a violent crime rate of 809 per 100,000 residents. In a strange twist, people who live in Memphis say that it's really one of the best places in America. It's just the next one on the list. It shouldn't come as a surprise that Detroit, Michigan is in second place. A city that has faced its share of challenges over the years. The population peaked at 1.8 million in 1950, has steadily declined over the decades. That was in 1980, they dropped 20.5%. 1990, they dropped 14.6%. They also lost 25% of their population in 2010. And it is thought that they will lose another 2.9% in 2022. In 2023, with a population of 600,000 residents, with a violent crime rate of 2,057 incidents per 100,000 residents. Without a question, one of the highest death rates in the U.S. The murder rate is 41 per 100,000 residents. In 2019, 275 people were murdered in that city. So crime rates don't tell us everything we need to know about what's going on in the world. When you look at crime data, it can be hard to tell which places really have the most crime because some states let things happen that other states make illegal. St. Louis tops our list as the most dangerous city in the United States in 2023. It's pretty risky to be in St. Louis. It's a place with a rich history and a stark reality. In the past, this was a major shipping hub. With a population of around 279,000 residents and a metropolitan area of 2.2 million. Like Detroit, they've been losing people since the 1950 census, when 856,000 people were living there. Every year for the last 7 counts, they've lost more than 10% of their population. The only years they didn't lose that much were 2010 and 2020. It's a city striving for revitalization, but one that also faces formidable challenges. The crime rate is 234% higher than the national average, with a violent crime rate of 2,082 incidents per 100,000 residents. The city has had a hard time with poverty and a lack of job options, both of which add to its high crime rate. The problem is made even worse by the fact that it has a high rate of gun crime. Some places do look like they could work, and it's good that they're improving a lot of the neighborhoods. This is the most dangerous neighborhood list: Peabody-Darst Webb, Hamilton Heights, Walnut Park West, and College Hill. A lot of their neighborhoods are really bad, and the fact that East St. Louis, Illinois, is just across the line and one of the worst places in the U.S. doesn't help. As I conclude, it's clear that perception and reality often diverge. These cities grapple with unique challenges and histories, and their residents navigate a complex landscape of safety and security. Our hope is that by shedding light on these statistics, we can contribute to a better understanding of the issues facing these communities. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, and keep exploring the world around you. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey.